The city was silent that night. The streets were empty and the air felt colder than usual. Street lights flickered like tired eyes and shadows stretched across the walls. Most people had already gone home, but one man kept walking, his hands in his pockets, his thoughts heavy. He had taken this road many times, but tonight something was different. At the corner near an old broken bench sat a girl. Her hair was messy, her clothes torn and her face hidden under the hood of a dirty jacket. She looked like one of the many homeless people who wandered the city. But there was something strange about her. She did not beg. She did not move. She just sat there staring at the sky. The man slowed down. He told himself not to stop, but his feet refused to listen. There was something in the way she sat. Something in the way her lips moved. She was whispering, but the words were not English. They were not even from this world. He stepped closer. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice gentle. The girl did not answer. She kept her eyes on the stars, her lips still moving. It was like she was talking to someone far away, someone who could not hear him. He tried again. "Do you need food, water?" Finally, the girl turned her head. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. Not bright, not strong, but enough to make his heart skip a beat. She looked at him, not with fear, but with warning. "You should not be here," she whispered. Her voice was low but heavy, like a secret too big for the night. The man frowned. "Why not?" "They will see you now," she said. "They will find you." Before he could ask what she meant, the wind changed. The air grew heavy like a storm was about to break. He looked around, but the street was empty. Only the broken streetlight and the silent buildings stood with them. The girl pulled her hood lower over her face. She stood quickly and grabbed his arm. Her hand was cold, colder than ice. "Listen to me," she said, her words shaking. "If you stay near me, you are not safe." The man tried to smile, tried to calm her. "Safe from who?" "You're just—" But then it happened. A flash of blue light tore across the sky, quick and sharp like lightning without thunder. It was gone in seconds, but the world did not feel the same after it. The shadows around them seemed to move, crawling closer. The girl pressed against the wall, pulling him with her. "It's too late," she whispered. "They are here." And then he saw them. Two figures at the end of the street. Dressed in black suits, their faces hidden by the dark. They did not walk like normal men. Their steps were too even, too heavy. Their heads turned together, sharp and mechanical, as if they were following an invisible signal. The man's chest tightened. His mind screamed at him to run, but his feet were frozen. The girl leaned close to him, her breath cold against his ear. "If they take me, your world will burn too." Her words struck him like a blade. He wanted to ask questions, to demand answers, but there was no time. The men in black were already moving toward them. Their steps echoed like hammers on stone. The girl looked at him once more. Her eyes, glowing faintly again, were filled with something he could not understand. Fear? Anger? Or was it something greater? "Trust me," she said. "And run." She pulled him into the alley before he could resist. The shadows swallowed them, and the sounds of the men's footsteps grew louder. The man's heart pounded as they ran. His mind was a storm of questions. Who was she? Why were those men after her? And why did he feel, deep inside, that this night was only the beginning of something far greater than himself? The girl led him deeper into the darkness. Every corner, every turn, she seemed to know where to go. She moved fast, like someone who had been running her whole life. Behind them, the footsteps followed. Slow, steady, unhurried. The men in black were not running. They did not need to. The man tried to speak, but his breath came in gasps. "Who are they? Why us?" The girl looked at him. Her face was pale, her eyes bright with something not human. She did not answer his question. Instead, she whispered again in that strange language he could not understand. The ground trembled slightly under their feet. A broken door ahead of them creaked open by itself. She pulled him inside, slamming it shut. In the silence, she finally spoke. "You helped me," she said softly. "But now you are part of this. You cannot go back." The man swallowed hard. His whole body shook, not from the cold, but from the truth in her words. Outside, the street was quiet again. But the man knew the silence was only a lie. Something had begun that night. Something he could not escape. And in the dark corner of the room, the girl whispered once more, "They will not stop until they have me. And if they win, your world ends." The old building was silent. Dust floated in the air and the broken windows rattled in the wind. The man leaned against the wall, his chest rising and falling as he tried to catch his breath. The girl stood near the door, her ear pressed against the wood, listening for footsteps. "They are gone." she whispered at last. The man wiped sweat from his forehead. Gone? Who are they? Why are they chasing you? The girl turned slowly. In the dim light, her face looked older than her years, as if she had carried too many burdens. You should not ask questions, she said softly. The less you know, the safer you are. But the man could not stop. You pulled me into this. You said if they take you, my world will burn. I deserve answers. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she walked across the room and sat on the floor, her knees pulled close to her chest, her eyes fixed on the broken ceiling above. I am not from here, she said finally. The man frowned. Not from here? You mean not from this city? Her lips curved in the faintest smile. Not from this world. Silence filled the room. The man laughed nervously. That's crazy. You're joking, right? Her eyes glowed faintly again, that same strange light he had seen under the street lamp. Does this look like a joke to you? The man's laughter died. He took a step back, his mind refusing to believe. If you're not human, then what are you? She looked down. I was supposed to be safe here, hidden, but they found me. Who? He asked, his voice shaking. The hunters, she whispered. They wear the faces of men, but they are not men. They serve those who want me dead. The man swallowed hard. He thought of the two figures in black. Their heavy steps. Their strange mechanical turns. His stomach knotted. But why you? He asked. What do they want from you? She closed her eyes. Because of who I am. And who is that? The girl hesitated, then opened her eyes again. For the first time, she looked directly at him, and in that gaze was something powerful, something royal. I am the Princess of Arendor, a world far from this one. My kingdom is at war. If they catch me, they will not only destroy my world, they will open the gate to yours. The man's heart pounded. Princess, war, gate. It all sounded impossible, like a story from a book. And yet, he could not deny what he had seen. The glowing eyes, the blue light, the hunters. Before he could respond, the floor creaked. Both of them froze. The girl stood quickly, her body tense. They are near again. The man's breath caught in his throat. But you said they were gone. They never stop, she whispered. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed in the hall outside. Slow, steady, heavy. The same sound that had followed them through the streets. The man's pulse raced. He grabbed a loose piece of wood from the ground, holding it like a weapon. His hands shook, but he lifted it anyway. The girl placed her hand over his. That won't help you, she said. But this might. She closed her eyes and whispered in the strange language again. The wood in his hand grew warm, almost burning. He gasped and dropped it, but instead of falling, it floated in the air, glowing faintly. The man stared, his eyes wide. What did you just do? Gave it strength, she answered. Now it will obey you. The footsteps came closer. The man's body trembled, but he held the glowing wood again. It pulsed like a living thing. The door burst open. One of the hunters stepped inside. His suit was neat, his face pale, but his eyes were empty, like glass. The man froze. The hunter raised a hand. The girl shouted something in her strange tongue. The air around them shimmered, and suddenly a wall of light formed between them and the hunter. The creature slammed its fist against the barrier, and cracks spread across the glowing shield. The man's breath came fast. It's breaking. Then we run, she said. She grabbed his arm again, and together they slipped through the back of the building, pushing into the night. The second hunter waited outside. The man lifted the glowing wood without thinking. It hummed in his hands, and when he swung, a flash of light burst from it. The hunter stumbled back, hissing in a voice that was not human. The girl's eyes widened. You should not have been able to do that. The man shook, still gripping the wood. I didn't do anything. It moved on its own. The girl stared at him, her expression unreadable. Then she whispered, Maybe it is not an accident that you found me tonight. Before he could ask what she meant, she pulled him again into the dark alleys. The city around them felt different now. Less like a place he knew, more like a battlefield waiting to begin. And as they vanished into the night, the man realized something terrifying. He was no longer just a stranger helping a homeless girl. He was standing at the edge of a war between worlds. The night swallowed them as they ran. The man's shoes slapped against the wet pavement, his chest burning with every breath. The girl moved quickly. weaving through narrow alleys like she had memorized the city's secrets. Her grip on his wrist was firm, almost unshakable, as if letting go would cost them both their lives. Behind them, the hunters did not shout, did not run in panic. Their footsteps came slow and steady, echoing like a clock that never stopped ticking. They were not chasing like men. They were hunting like machines. Faster, the girl whispered, her voice low but urgent. The man stumbled, his legs aching. Where are we even going? Somewhere they cannot reach us, she said, though her own eyes flicked nervously to the shadows. At least not easily. They burst out of the alley onto a wider street. Neon lights from half-broken signs painted their faces in sickly colors. A few cars passed, but no one stopped. To the world, they were just another pair of desperate souls in the night. Then, without warning, the girl raised her hand. The traffic lights above them flickered, then turned red in every direction. The car screeched to a stop, horns blaring. She pulled him across the street, weaving between the frozen line of vehicles. The man's eyes widened. How did you— Later, she cut him off. No time. On the other side, they ducked into another alley. The smell of rust and garbage filled the air. The man coughed, but the girl kept pulling. Suddenly, a loud crack split the night. The man turned. One of the hunters had leapt onto the roof of a car. Its glass eyes glowed faintly in the dark. It did not run. It simply dropped from the roof, landing silently, and began walking toward them. The man's chest froze with fear. It's like— It knows exactly where we are. They always know, the girl whispered. The alley ended in a high wall. The man's heart sank. We're trapped. No, she said firmly. She placed both hands on the wall, closing her eyes. Her lips moved in that strange language again. The bricks trembled. The man stepped back in shock as lines of glowing light spread across the wall, carving shapes like ancient runes. The wall groaned, then slid open just enough to reveal a dark passage behind it. Go, she ordered. He didn't argue. They slipped inside, and the wall closed behind them, cutting off the light of the street. Inside, the air was damp and cold. Narrow tunnels stretched into darkness, lit only by faint lines of blue symbols along the walls. The man touched one, but it buzzed with energy and burned his skin. He yanked his hand back. What is this place? He asked. An old path, she replied. Long forgotten by your world, but not by mine. They walked quickly through the tunnels. The sound of their footsteps echoed, but at least for the first time that night, the hunter's steps were gone. The man finally found his voice. Why me? Out of all the people in this city, why did I stop for you? The girl did not look at him. Maybe because you were meant to. Meant to? He scoffed. I'm just a normal man. I don't have glowing eyes. I don't speak strange words. I don't fight. Things like those. She stopped, turning to face him. Her gaze was sharp, almost piercing. And yet you struck one down. The light answered to you. He remembered the glowing wood in his hands, the way it had burned with power. He shook his head. That was your magic, not mine. Maybe, she said softly. Or maybe you are more than you think. Before he could answer, the tunnel trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The girl's face paled. They've found us. A deep hum filled the air, like machines waking from sleep. The walls glowed brighter, and the runes twisted into new shapes. The man turned, and his blood ran cold. At the far end of the tunnel, a figure stepped into the light. A hunter. Its suit was torn now, its pale face cracked, but it kept moving. Behind it, another followed. They're inside. The man shouted. The girl grabbed his hand again. Then we keep moving. They ran deeper into the tunnels. The hum grew louder, chasing them like a storm. The man's heart pounded, but somewhere inside a spark of courage began to burn. Ahead, the tunnel split into two paths. The girl hesitated for the first time. Left leads out. Right leads deeper. Which one is safer? He asked, breathless. Neither, she said. The hunter's footsteps drew closer. Without waiting, the man pulled her toward the right path. Then deeper it is. They raced down the dark passage. The air grew colder, heavier, like the weight of another world pressing on their shoulders. Strange whispers echoed from the walls, voices in the same language the girl spoke. At last, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber. In the center stood a circle of stone pillars, each carved with glowing runes. The girl's eyes widened. The gate, she whispered. The man looked around. Gate, to where? She turned to him, her voice trembling between fear and hope. To my world. Before he could speak, the hunters entered the chamber. The light from the runes flickered, reacting to their presence. The man tightened his fists, ready though afraid. The girl stepped beside him, her voice steady. "If we survive this," she said, "you will see the truth for yourself." The hunters advanced, and the chamber filled with the sound of power building in the air, and the escape was not over yet. The chamber glowed with strange light. The stone pillars hummed like living things, each rune pulsing as if in rhythm with a heartbeat. The man stood frozen, his eyes darting between the glowing circle and the two hunters stepping closer. The girl lifted her hands, whispering in her otherworldly tongue. The runes answered, their glow growing brighter, forming a faint shield around the circle. The hunters stopped just outside the light. Their glassy eyes reflected the blue glow, and for the first time, their voices broke the silence. "Return with us," one said, its voice flat and hollow like a broken radio. "The throne does not belong to you." The girl's body stiffened, but she did not lower her hands. "This world is not yours," she shouted. Her voice echoed against the stone walls. "You will not open the gate." The hunters pressed against the shield, cracks spreading across the glowing wall. The man stepped forward instinctively. His voice shook. "We can't fight them forever. What do we do?" The girl's eyes glowed brighter. "We buy time." She turned to him suddenly, her expression sharp, desperate. "And I tell you the truth. All of it." The man's heart pounded. "Now? You want to talk now?" "Yes," she said firmly. "Because if you stay by my side, you must understand what you're facing." The hunter slammed against the shield again. Dust fell from the ceiling and the stone floor trembled. Still, the girl kept her hands raised, her voice steady. "My name is Lyra," she said, "daughter of Queen Eleanor of Arendor, heir to a kingdom that should never have fallen." The man blinked. The words felt like a dream. "A princess? You're saying you're a princess?" "Not only that," Lyra said. "I am the last one. My mother is dead. My father disappeared in the war. I was sent here to hide, to wait, until the time came to return." The man shook his head. "Return through that?" He pointed at the glowing circle of pillars. Lyra nodded. "The gate, it connects our worlds. It has been sleeping for centuries, buried under your cities, your streets. Few know it still exists." The man tried to take it in, but his mind rebelled. "This is insane. Worlds, gates, hunters. You are not just anything," she cut him off. Her eyes locked on his. "You touched the power. The light answered you. That should not have happened unless—" She hesitated. "Unless what?" he demanded. "Unless fate chose you." Before he could respond, the shield shattered. The hunters stepped forward, their eyes burning cold. Lyra grabbed his arm. "We run again, but this time into truth." The runes under their feet flared and the circle pulsed. A low hum filled the chamber, rising like a song from another world. The man staggered as energy surged through him. Images flashed in his mind. Tall towers made of crystal, skies with two suns, creatures with wings of fire. He gasped, clutching his head. "What is this?" he shouted. Lyra's voice came through the noise. "Memories of my world. The gate is showing you. Now you know it's real." The hunters closed in, but Lyra raised one hand. A blast of light shot from her palm, striking the ground and forcing them back. Her face twisted with pain, she was growing weaker. The man stepped in front of her without thinking. The runes beneath his feet pulsed brighter when he did. The same warm energy that had filled the wood earlier now spread through his body. One hunter lunged. The man raised his hand and a burst of light shot out, striking the creature's chest. The hunter staggered, smoke rising from the wound. He stared at his own hand in shock. I did that?" Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile even through exhaustion. "Yes, the gate recognizes you." The other hunter growled, a sound not human at all, and charged. The man braced himself, but Lyra pulled him back into the circle. "Not now," she said. "You are not ready, but soon." The runes flared again and the chamber shook violently. The hunters shielded themselves as the gate pulsed, its energy forcing them back. Lyra grabbed the man's hand. "Listen to me. My kingdom was betrayed. The rebels who killed my mother want more than Arendor. They want Earth. Your world has no defenses against them. That is why I was sent here, to keep them from finding the gate." The man's breath came fast. "And now they found it anyway." "Yes," she said, her voice trembling. "Because I was careless. Because I trusted the wrong person." The hunters howled as cracks spread across the chamber walls. The gate's energy was tearing the place apart. Lyra pulled him close, her voice fierce. You must choose. Walk away now, return to your life, forget what you saw. Or stay, and stand with me against them. The man looked at the hunters, then at the glowing gate, then at Lyra's exhausted but determined face. His world felt like it had already changed. He could never unsee the truth. I don't even know who I am anymore, he said quietly. You will, Lyra replied. If you stay. The chamber roared, the gate flaring so bright it blinded him. The hunters lunged once more, and then with a scream of power the gate exploded in light, swallowing them all. The light faded slowly, like the end of a long storm. The man blinked, his eyes burning, his body weak. For a moment there was only silence. No hunters. No footsteps. Just silence. He looked around. The chamber was gone. The stone pillars, the glowing runes, even the tunnel, they had all vanished. Instead, he found himself standing in the ruins of an old train station. Rusted tracks stretched out into the darkness. Broken signs hung from the ceiling, and shattered glass crunched beneath his shoes. Beside him, Lyra leaned against a wall, her face pale, her breathing heavy. She looked smaller now, fragile, as if the weight of her world pressed down on her shoulders. What happened? The man asked, his voice shaky. The gate reacted, Lyra said softly. It pulled us away for now. But it won't last. They will find us again. The man ran a hand through his hair, his mind spinning. This is insane. I was just walking home. Now I'm running from monsters standing in broken stations talking about other worlds. He turned on her, his voice rising. Why me? Why did you pull me into this? Lyra's eyes met his. There was no anger there, only sadness. Because you chose to stop for me. Because you offered kindness when others only walked away. That's it, he shouted. Because I gave you food? That's why my life is ruined now? No, she whispered. Because the gate chose you too? The man froze. Her words echoed in his head. He remembered the glowing wood in his hand, the burst of light that struck the hunter, the runes shining beneath his feet. He wanted to deny it, to scream that it wasn't true. But deep inside he knew. Something inside him had changed that night. Lyra pushed away from the wall, standing unsteadily. You must decide, she said. Leave me now, and they may never find you again. You can go back to your life, your world, your simple days. The man's chest tightened. He imagined himself waking tomorrow, drinking coffee, going to work, pretending none of this ever happened. It sounded safe, normal, easy. But if you stay, Lyra continued, her voice firm despite her weakness, then you stand with me, against the hunters, against those who want to rule both worlds. And if you stay, you may never go back to who you were before. The silence of the station wrapped around them. The man's heart pounded. He looked at her. She was just a girl, tired, scared, but burning with something he could not explain. She carried a weight far greater than her years, and she was asking him to share it. His hands shook. I'm nobody. I don't even know how to fight. Lyra stepped closer. Neither did I once. But choice makes us more than what we are. Her words lingered in the air, heavy and true. The man closed his eyes. He thought about the hunters, about their empty eyes and heavy steps. He thought about the gate, about the visions of her world, towers of crystal, skies with two suns. He thought about the light that had answered him, and he knew. There was no going back. Even if he walked away now, his world would never be the same. He opened his eyes. I'll stay, he said quietly. Then louder. I'll help you. For the first time, Lyra smiled. Not a sad smile, but one filled with relief and hope. Then you are braver than you believe. The man exhaled, his shoulders sinking. But I need you to tell me everything. No more secrets. If I'm going to fight, I need to know what I'm fighting for. Lyra nodded. You will. But not here. It's not safe. As if on cue, the sound of metal creaked above them. A faint echo like something moving through the broken beams. The man's stomach tightened. They've already found us again, Lyra whispered. The man's pulse quickened. Then where do we go? She raised her hand. A faint glow lit her fingers. Deeper underground. There are places even they cannot see. The man swallowed hard. He had just made his choice, and already it was leading him further into danger. They moved quickly through the abandoned station, stepping over debris, weaving through shadows. Every sound felt louder. The drip of water, the crunch of glass, the whistle of wind through broken doors. Behind them, faint footsteps echoed again. The hunters were not far. The man clenched his fists. Fear still burned in his chest, but beneath it, something new flickered. Resolve. He had chosen his path, and whatever waited ahead, he would face it. As they slipped into another dark tunnel, Lyra glanced at him. Her voice was soft but filled with certainty. "This is only the beginning. Together we may yet stop them." The man nodded. "Then let's begin." And in the silence of the underground, the weight of his choice settled over him like a crown he never asked to wear. The tunnel grew darker as they walked. Every step echoed like a drumbeat, every breath clouded in the cold air. The man stayed close to Lyra, his nerves tight, his fists clenched. Somewhere behind them, the faint sound of footsteps followed, slow, steady, unhurried. The hunters never rushed. They didn't need to. "Are we heading anywhere safe?" he whispered. Lyra's glowing eyes looked ahead. "Safe is not a word we can use tonight, but we can fight. And maybe, just maybe, we can win." The man swallowed hard. His chest tightened. "Fight him?" He wanted to laugh, but fear held the sound inside. The tunnel widened into a massive chamber. Broken machines lay scattered on the ground, their gears rusted and lifeless. Old rails crossed the floor, leading to a giant iron door half buried in rubble. Above it, faint symbols glowed, the same runes he had seen on the gate. Lyra stopped, her hand raised. "They're here." The man turned and froze. Two hunters stepped from the shadows. Their suits were torn now, their faces cracked like broken porcelain, but their eyes glowed brighter than before. Behind them came a third, taller than the rest, its movements sharper, its presence heavier. The man's stomach dropped. "Three of them?" Lyra's voice was calm, but her body was tense. "The leader." They sent their commander. The hunters moved forward in silence. The man's knees shook. "What do we do?" Lyra looked at him. "You fight with me." Before he could answer, the hunters attacked. The leader raised a hand and a shockwave burst through the chamber, shattering the old machines into pieces. The man flew backward, slamming into the ground. Pain ripped through his body. He groaned, trying to stand, but Lyra was already moving. She raised both hands, her voice chanting in her strange language. Blue light swirled around her, forming a shield that deflected the next blast. Sparks rained across the stone floor. The man staggered up, grabbing a broken pipe from the ground. It was useless, he knew, but his hands burned with the same strange warmth as before. The pipe glowed faintly, answering him. He held it tight. "All right, let's see what I can do." One hunter lunged at him. Its pale face twisted, its glass eyes unblinking. The man swung the glowing pipe, and a burst of energy exploded from it. The hunter was thrown against the wall, its body cracking on impact. The man stared at the weapon in his hand, shocked. I actually did it, but there was no time to celebrate. The second hunter charged, its movements too fast, too sharp. The man swung again, but this time the creature caught the pipe in midair. It hissed, pressing closer, its strength overwhelming. The man's arms shook. He felt the pipe slipping. Then Lyra shouted his name. Her voice was filled with power. "Believe it." Something inside him ignited. His body surged with energy, and the pipe burned with blinding light. The hunter shrieked as the weapon shattered its chest, sending it collapsing into smoke and sparks. The man gasped, his chest heaving. His arms trembled from the force, but he was alive. The leader hunter stepped forward. Unlike the others, it did not rush. Its eyes burned like cold fire. "You should not exist," it said in that broken, hollow voice. "The gate chose wrongly," the man's heart pounded. "I don't care what the gate thinks." "I'm not letting you take her." The hunter raised both arms, and darkness spread across the chamber. The walls cracked, the rails twisted, the ground itself split open. Lyra's voice rang out again, filled with command. She stood tall, her royal aura blazing. "This world will not fall." The man ran to her side, raising his glowing weapon. Together, they faced the leader. The battle shook the chamber. Light and shadow collided, waves of energy tearing through stone and steel. The man struck with every ounce of strength, each blow burning brighter, while Lyra's power shielded them from the blasts. The leader roared, its form twisting, its face splitting into something monstrous. It lunged at them both, claws of black energy reaching forward. At the last moment, Lyra grabbed the man's hand. Their powers merged, blue and white light entwining. Together they thrust forward, a beam of pure energy striking the hunter. The leader screamed, its body cracking, shattering, breaking apart. With a final burst, it collapsed into nothing but dust and echo. Silence fell. The chamber was broken, the ground scorched. the air heavy with smoke. The man dropped to his knees, gasping, his whole body trembling. We did it? Lyra knelt beside him, her eyes glowing faintly but filled with exhaustion. We survived. For now. He laughed weakly, half in disbelief, half in relief. I can't believe I fought. Them. You didn't just fight, Lyra said softly. You stood with me. And without you I would have fallen. The man looked at her. She was tired, fragile, but her strength shone brighter than ever. For the first time he saw not only a princess but a leader ready to face any darkness. He nodded slowly. Then I'm not leaving. Whatever comes next. I'm in this fight. Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. Then the real war begins now. And in the shadows of the broken chamber something stirred. A whisper carried on the cold air, chilling them both. The hunters were not finished. The chamber was quiet at last. Dust floated through the air like snow. The man sat on the cold stone floor, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. Every part of him ached, but he was alive. And so was Lyra. She stood near the broken rails, her hands trembling as the glow around her faded. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with the same light of royalty and determination. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence felt almost safe, like the calm after a storm. Then Lyra whispered, "It is over." The man forced a laugh, though it came out weak. Over? That thing nearly killed us. And you say it's over? Lyra's lips pressed into a thin line. I mean this battle. Not the war. The war has only begun. Her words hung in the air like a blade. The man's stomach twisted. He wanted to argue, to deny it, but deep down he knew she was right. He leaned back against the wall. So what now? Where do we even go? Lyra looked at the faintly glowing runes still etched into the broken floor. We find the other gates and we close them before the hunters do. Other gates? His voice cracked. You mean there's more? Lyra nodded slowly. Hidden across your world. Each one is a door to mine. If they open all of them, the barrier between Earth and Arendor will fall. And then, her voice trailed off. And then Earth burns. The man finished quietly. She met his gaze. Yes. The silence pressed between them again, heavier than before. The man rubbed his face with his hands. A few hours ago he was nothing, just another man walking home through the city. Now he was part of a war between worlds. He looked at Lyra. Why me? Why did the gate choose me? Lyra hesitated, then stepped closer. Her voice was softer now, almost fragile. Because you carry something inside you. Something even you do not understand. What are you talking about? He asked, his throat dry. She touched his hand. The mark left by the gate, the faint glowing scar on his skin, shone brighter under her touch. This is not just a mark. It is a bond. The gate linked itself to you. That means you are not just a witness. You are part of this war now. The man stared at the glowing mark, his mind spinning. A bond with what? Lyra's eyes darkened. With me. His breath caught. For a moment the world seemed to stop. He pulled his hand back, but the glow stayed. What does that even mean? He asked. It means, she said, her voice steady again, that as long as I live you cannot run from this. Our fates are tied. If they take me, they take you. If I fall, you fall too. The man's chest tightened. So I never had a choice at all. You did, Lyra whispered. You chose to stay, and now destiny has sealed it. Before he could answer, a deep rumble shook the ground. The broken chamber walls cracked and dust rained down. Lyra's eyes widened. They're coming again, she said. But not hunters this time. The man stood quickly. Then who? From the shadows of the tunnel, a new figure appeared. Cloaked in dark robes, taller than any hunter. Its face hidden beneath a mask of silver. Unlike the others, it did not move like a machine. It moved like a man. The man's blood ran cold. Another one? Lyra's face hardened. No, worse. The figure stopped at the edge of the chamber. Its voice was smooth, human, but carried a weight that chilled the air. So this is the one the gate chose, it said. Its masked face turning toward the man. Interesting, the man stepped back. Who are you? The figure tilted its head. I am what you would call a general. The one who commands the hunters. The one who will open every gate. Lyra's fist clenched, her voice sharp. You betrayed my family. You killed my mother. The figure chuckled. And soon I will finish what I began. But first, his gaze shifted to the man again. The gate should not have bonded with you. Yet it did. That makes you valuable. Dangerous. The man's chest pounded. His hands glowed faintly again, but he felt small before this presence. The figure raised a hand. The chamber shook, the broken runes blazing to life. You cannot win. Not against me, but I will give you a gift, time. Because when you finally come to Arendor, I want you to see how your choice destroys you. With that, the figure vanished into smoke, leaving the chamber silent once more. The man staggered, his legs weak. What just happened? Lyra's face was pale, her voice trembling. That was no hunter. That was their master, the one I was running from. She looked at him, her eyes filled with both fear and determination. And now he knows who you are. The man stared at his glowing hand. His world tilted again, every part of him screaming to run. But he had already chosen. Lyra stepped closer. Her voice was steady now. This is not the end. It is the beginning. The gates will open. The war will come. And when it does, you and I will face it together. The man nodded slowly, though fear still burned in his chest. Then I guess I'd better be ready. Lyra's eyes softened, but her voice carried the weight of prophecy. Ready or not, your world will never be the same. And in the silence of the ruined chamber, the glowing mark on his hand pulsed, brighter than ever before.